This is your boy Roto Beast. I'm here with my boy Jeremy. We're here to present you our NBA morning shoot around from Wednesday, March 20th. If you're new to this channel, please make sure and click the subscribe button below. This way you can watch all my NBA, MLB, and NFL videos. And if you haven't come and checked out the website here at dfscheatsheet.com, you're absolutely missing out. We have all the tools to help you compete with the pros day in and day out, including a complete optimizer, tons of content, daily Fanduel, and Draftkings cash line update. We're truly a one-stop shop for all your DFS needs. So make sure you check out the site here at dfscheatsheet.com. So hey, what up, Jeremy? How you doing, bro?
Yo, what up, man? Back at it again today. Let's get it.
Back at it. Another day, monster 9-game slate. I'm going to warn you guys right now, we're not going to spin forever on this slate. We're going to touch what needs to be touched, and we're just going to kind of move on. So real quick before we jump into this video, if you guys don't mind, please take that quick second, click the like button down below. Helps me out. Really, really appreciate that. And yeah, man, as we're jumping into this video, if you don't mind, can you kind of just update us on the news we have so far?
Yeah, so look, we've got Nerlens Noel, Maxi Kleber, Larry Nance Jr., Tristan Thompson, and Kevin Love all questionable at the moment. And then Matthew Dellavedova has been ruled out for Cleveland. So has Kyle Lowry, Anthony Davis, Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, and Avery Bradley will miss a week with a shin injury. That's who's out already. We do know, we get in this first game. We'll talk about the game time decisions that I just mentioned.
Yeah, for sure. So you ready to jump into this slate?
Yep, let's go.
Dude, let's get it, bro. So first game we're going to go with is going to be two teams. No, I'm sorry. Cleveland didn't play yesterday, but Milwaukee did. So we got Milwaukee on the second end of a back-to-back going into Cleveland to face the Cavaliers. This game has a 227 over-under. Milwaukee's favored by 9.
Yeah, so look, let's find out what's going on with Giannis. There's going to have to be some news that's going to break on that today. Obviously, the first thing we should mention is Ilyasova was probably one of the more owned drop spots on any slate. I didn't play cash yesterday. I only played tournaments, so I'm not sure what he was in cash games, but I know he was over 30% owned in a lot of tournaments yesterday. So we'll have to see if he's a game time decision. Obviously, nobody cares about Ilyasova if Giannis is going to be playing today. But if Giannis is out, there's obviously some rotational minutes. But here's the thing, right? And this is a good example with the drop spot. You have to figure out where the drop spot is at. And the drop spot may not be the chalk. It may be the best position to drop spot because that position is weak. So yesterday, there was a ton of guys that you could play at power forward. I mean, even you could have drop spotted with Amir Johnson and had 9 points. At least he got you 9 points. Turned into your drop spot, but at least he got you 9 points and played. And you also had guys like Frank Kaminsky. I gave you guys a huge one with the Warriors and Jerebko on the shoot-around video. So there was other guys you could have played there. Was that the drop spot? I don't know. But we knew that with Milwaukee that Mirotic was the guy who was going to benefit the most from Giannis being out. And that's exactly what happened. And he's too cheap. And that's where you start today. If he's going to start even with Giannis back, Mirotic with a full complement of minutes. The guy's had a really good season when he's played. He's in play again today at 5,000 no matter what happens with Giannis. Giannis, personally, to me, too expensive at 13,000 on a 9-game slate. There's other places that I would like to go, especially against Cleveland. We don't know what's going to happen in this game. Cleveland's been competitive, yes, but you can't always guarantee at 13,000 that you're going to get a full complement of minutes. And for me, if I'm gonna pay a guy 13,000, if he gets hurt, that's one thing. But I don't want to pay up 13,000 for a guy who could be in a blowout spot. So I'll fade that. I think Brook Lopez is in play, and then we have to check and see again what the injury to Giannis. If Giannis is out once again, you could go right back to Eric Bledsoe and Chris Middleton.
Yeah, I mean, I just want to start off by saying I've been telling you guys for the past 2-3 weeks now, Brandon Knight at 3,500 is too cheap. Play him. I've been telling you guys. Once again, last game I told you guys, play him. He's too cheap. And he didn't have the monster 40 fantasy point game. He's going to have it soon, I promise you. But, hey, he got us 30 fantasy points at a bare minimum price tag, 8x, almost 9x, played 30 minutes. He did what Brandon Knight, what we're used to doing, 16 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists. This is the guy who can consistently get 20 points a game. So I'm going to go right back to the well, 4.2, I think it's still too cheap for Brandon Knight. He's definitely in play. A couple other guys that I'm going to look at. You can look at Colin Sexton. You can look at Osman. Those 3 guys are probably my main targets. Nawaba as well, 3,800. He got a bunch of minutes. But for me, with the Cleveland side of things, we got to wait on some injury news. We got to see what's going on with Love, with Nance. with Tristan Thompson, because if they're all out, Zizic gets a bump, and some of these other guys, like I said, like Nawaba, like a Marquise Pierce, they all get bumps. But we don't know what's going to happen with the Tristan Thompsons, the Love, the Nances. So I'm going to wait and see kind of what happens with that. I'm just going to stick with Sexton, Knight, and Osman for now.
Yeah, and the thing is, right, so Love's dealing with a back injury now. It's got nothing to do with what he was previously had surgery on or missed before. So, look, even if Love plays, we know how careful they've been. We know how long it took him to work his minutes up. I could totally see Zizic still being in play even if Love does play today. I could see that. The guy that I think is the pivotal guy here is Larry Nance. If Larry Nance and Love play, then it kind of takes Zizic out of the picture.
Yeah, for sure. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is going to be the New Orleans Pelicans going into Orlando to face the Magic. This game has a 223.5 over-under. Orlando's favored by 9.
I really expect Elfrid Payton to be chalky today at 9.5. I said the other day that I'm not paying that price tag for him, and I was fine not paying that price tag and having him get 50 fantasy points and me not benefit from it. I went elsewhere and still did okay. So 9.5 for him today. I expect him to be chalky. I think that there was probably a wait-and-see approach that was taken with that price tag kind of across the board, and he paid off on it. And I can totally see in the same spot with Anthony Davis being ruled out now, people feeling the safety of rolling Elfrid Payton and Julius Randle here for New Orleans. They're the guys getting a bulk of minutes. You can't not look at Frank Jackson at 5.3 playing that many minutes. Anybody at that price tag that's playing 36 minutes a game is definitely in play. He's just a tournament play. And I'm going to keep going with Kenrick Williams. Where the value is at here with Anthony Davis not playing, we know that is Cheek Diallo at 4.5. I think he's really safe in all formats today at 4.5 with Anthony Davis already being ruled out. And then, of course, you got the guy, Jahlil Okafor. This is kind of a wild card on this slate. The guy hasn't played a ton of minutes recently in this spot, but we have seen earlier in the season where he absolutely went crazy in this same exact spot when Anthony Davis was out. So Okafor is the wild card. He's really safe in tournaments if you want to build in him as a drop spot in some lineups. I don't know if I can get behind dropping the center's position on a 9-game slate. That kind of goes back to what I was talking about before. You got to find the position where the drop spot is at. I'm not sure I can get behind cash games, drop spotting the center and moving on my day, not knowing what we're going to get from a minute standpoint out of Jahlil Okafor.
Yeah, for sure. No, I get you. He's up and down, strictly GPP. On the other side thing with the Magic, it's simple. I mean, there's some guys that you can look at. I think that all 5 of the starters are in play. They're all obviously, in my opinion, GPP plays. I mean, outside of Vucevic, he's very consistent. All the other Magic guys are really, really volatile. Gordon, Augustine, Jonathan Isaac has some upside, but he has some downside as well. Fournier. And then, coming off the bench, you can look at Terrence Ross. But that's really it with the Magic. I mean, I like all 6 of those guys, but they're all GPP plays. Maybe you can look at Vooch and catch and kind of move on.
Yep.
Next game we're going with, it is going to be the Boston Celtics going into Philadelphia to face the 76ers. 76ers are on the second end of a back-to-back. This game has a 224.5 over-under, and Philadelphia is favored by 4 in this one.
Al Horford's a game-time decision, but I believe he's expected to play. If he's ruled out of this, obviously you're going to have to compare Aaron Baines at 3.5 and Jahlil Okafor when you're doing builds for a drop spotting and center position. In my opinion, Baines would be a guy that would have much more upside than Okafor based on Okafor's previous minutes. So that's kind of where you start this thing. Kyrie Irving at 10.5. Look, I think this is a good spot for Kyrie Irving. I know the price is 10.5, but I really think this is a good spot. This is a seeding game in the Eastern Conference. Both these teams battling for a seed. That's what they're both playing for right now. They're playing to better their seeding position in the playoffs. 10.5 for Kyrie. We've seen it. Last night, Kemba Walker didn't have the greatest game in the world against Philadelphia, but we've seen point guards and we've seen elite point guards just smash the 76ers before. Talking about Kemba Walker last night, he had averaged 66 fantasy points, 2 55-point games and a 71-point game going into the game against Philadelphia. So I definitely think you can look at Kyrie in this spot. This is a Marcus Smart type game, though. I've said this a few times. I've said a few times throughout the season. There's a couple games where certain guys, I feel like it's their spot. Marcus Smart, this feels like a Marcus Smart spot To me, you've got really good defenders on the Philadelphia 76ers perimeter. Marcus Smart is that dog you need, and he will go do all the dirty things. And this is the type of game where two teams are playing for something. It's a seeding game. I like Marcus Smart. I think he can do a lot of things defensively, plus get you some buckets and knock down some threes. And that's kind of where I'm at here. Marcus Smart is 5.6, not looking for that. Jason Tatum. Look, Jason Tatum is like the younger version of Tobias Harris, in my opinion. Maybe a little bit more skilled or with a little bit more upside, but I think these guys are kind of the same player. So I think the mismatches in this game are really with Kyrie and then mostly on the other side of things with Philadelphia.
Yeah, for sure. So Embiid is for sure playing, right?
Embiid is playing. It was just ruled out for rest.
Okay, perfect. So if Embiid is back, they're back to the original starting lineup. I mean, it is what it is. You can look at all 5 starters. We've been taking centers all year against Boston, so I really like Joel Embiid in this spot. Redick coming off a really good game. You can't really chase that, but 5.8 is still a very good price tag. You can look at Redick maybe in cash games. I could say consideration. I don't know how far I'll get there. I just like the price tag on Redick compared to some of these other guys. But Ben Simmons at an 8.6 price tag and Tobias Harris at 7.2. I think that they're really fair price tags as well. Jimmy Butler would be the odd man out of the starting lineup at 8.1. I think when everybody's in, he's the one that kind of gets left out. Everybody else figured out a way to kind of get themselves kind of involved. But I think that all 5 of the starters for 76ers are in play. I'm not really going to go really to the bench with everybody healthy and in the starting lineup. I mean, that's really it. I mean, the only guy possibly you can look at that's getting consistent minutes off the bench right now, James Ennis is getting some good run at 3,600, possibly as a drop spot. But that's really it for me, man.
I think Boban is a very interesting tournament play today, and not at a high exposure rate. I just think, in a couple of lineups, Boban is really intriguing because – you have to look at a couple things. The price dropped.
Oh, wait, really quick. Did his price drop like 2,500 or something like that?
$2,500.
Okay, perfect. Okay, hey, I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't even notice that. That's a really good call right there.
So the reason I'm saying it is that one, the price reduction is enormous, right? And then 2, this is a playoff type game, and it's a chance for us to see if they're in fact going to use Boban like in their playoff rotation against a team that can slow it down. So I think Boban could dominate in this spot, even in limited minutes. If he plays 15 minutes tonight, I could see him getting 25 really easily against his Boston team. Yeah,
for sure. Let's move on. Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Utah Jazz going into New York to face the Knicks. This game has a 209 over-under, and Utah's favored by 12.
So Derek Favors left, I think it was Monday's game, with a tight hamstring. He's a game-time decision, but expected to play today. I can't – look, this is a tournament play. This is the ultimate tournament play. If you want to play Derek Favors today, you're going to get him at very, very, very low ownership. People are going to think of a hamstring injury, that he just got ruled out, that he's coming back today, and nobody's going to pay $6,400 for Derek Favors, not knowing if he's going to leave the game early. So is it a good matchup for him? Absolutely it is. It's against the Knicks. But like I said, it's a tournament-only play, and you'll be one of the only guys playing Derek Favors today and get him at a very low ownership percentage. I like Ricky Rubio at 6.3. I like point guards going against Emmanuel Mudiay. The guy's not a very good defender. He struggles quite a bit. Donovan Mitchell, the price coming down, not really interested at 8.8 with him. I am interested in Gobert at 9.8. Gobert continues to have a really solid season, man, averaging 16 points, 15 rebounds over his last 5 games and playing 32 minutes. So that's kind of where I'm at with this. Nobody off the bench is exciting me. It's really their starters. And I think that, you look at Mitchell, 8.8, too expensive. You look at Favors, tight hamstring makes me nervous. And then, Ricky Rubio at 6.3 is a very fair price, as well as a very fair price for Joe Ingles. And Rudy Gobert is, I think, a solid tournament play.
Yeah, man, for sure. On the New York side of things, we're waiting on some injury news. We're waiting to see what's going to happen with Von Lay, what's going to happen with Dennis Smith. Their game time decisions. If they're ruled out, you can go back to the same guys you were playing last game. Dotson.
Dennis Smith was listed out yesterday. We have it as game time decision because it's the freaking NBA, and we always are going to wait until we hear something the day of the game. But he was listed out yesterday.
And what about Von Lay?
Von Lay, I believe, was also listed as out as of yesterday. No announcement, just listed as out. So
I'm just going to go under the assumption that they're out. So if they're out, if those guys are out, I mean, you can look at the same guys we were just looking at. Moutier, he's probably going to be lower owned today because he burned everybody last game, but he's still a good play. He's still going to play 30 minutes. He still has 40 fantasy point upside. Hazonia is a guy I'm not really going to look at because his price jumped so much because he had a decent game. It wasn't even like he had a monster game. But, I mean, the minutes are there. I think that he's still a decent GPP play, strictly GPP play. Same thing with Kevin Knox. He got some extra run with Von Layout last game. So I mean, I'm gonna just keep it real. I don't want to spend forever on the Knicks. I think that Moutier, Hazonia, Knox, all three of those guys are GPP plays. You know, you can look at a Cornet, bare minimum price tag, 3,500 off the bench. But I mean, Trier maybe he's been playing decent when he gets run this season. But I'm not really interested in the Knicks going against the Jazz, though.
Keep it moving.
Next game we're going with Houston Rockets going into Memphis to face the Grizzlies. This game has a 215.5 over under. Houston's favored by 5.5.
Look, I'm going to start with Daniel House. I mean, I'm playing this guy, and I've been playing him for the last week and a half. I'm going to keep playing him at 3.9. I believe he had 18 fantasy points last night, which paid off his minimum price tag. So, look, I'm going to keep playing this guy. This is a really, really diminished Memphis team, even after trading pieces away and now injuries. CJ Miles, who was playing good, he's out for the season. Avery Bradley just been ruled out for the next week. No Jaren Jackson, no Kyle Anderson. So, I mean, you know, I like Daniel House as a perimeter player. Houston likes this guy a lot as well. They're starting him. If he starts again today at 3.9, roll him again as an upside value play. To me, that's what he is. And then you look, James Harden at 12-1, I think maybe too expensive on this slate, but he does have the better matchup. If you're going to take Chris Paul at 8.3 or James Harden at 12-1, you also have to compare who the other pay-up spots are. And one of those guys is Giannis if he's in play. I would much rather take $900 savings and pay up for Harden in this spot, not having to deal with the Mike Conley and Justin Holiday, Bruno Caboclo are going to be the guys possibly guarding him. James Harden will absolutely thrash Memphis in this spot today, and that's the one guy to me that I think if you're going to pay up, that's who you pay up for with these Houston players.
Yeah, man, I'm not trying to continue saying, every team is pretty much GPP, but those are just kind of the teams that unfortunately I've been getting stuck on so far in this video. It's the same thing with the Grizzlies, man. It's like one guy that I think, honestly, that you actually could play in cash games for the Grizzlies, I think you could possibly play Noah. I mean, the guy's just been very, very consistent. The guy's playing about 22 to 24 minutes a game, but it's not a regular 22 to 24 minutes a game like most people. The guy fills up the stat sheet. He gets you 35 fantasy points on 20, 24 minutes very, very easily. So I think Noah is in play with the 5.7 price tag. He still is borderline GPP. And then Rab's an ultimate GPP play as well because the guy has shown us some upside, but it's just all about minutes with him. Those are the two bench guys that I'll even consider. Going into the starting rotation, Valanciunas has had some really big games. You could consider him as GPP. Mike Conley, and then I like DeLon Wright as well. He has some upside if he's going to be in that starting lineup at 5.2, along with Justin Jackson at 3.7. But that's really where I'm going to keep it with the Memphis Grizzlies.
Cool.
Next game we're going to go with, it is going to be we're going to go with Washington going into Chicago to face the Bulls. This game has a 229.5 over under, and Washington is favored by 3.5.
Look, I don't want to go off on a tirade here and get too far off topic, but from a psychological standpoint, I'm going to play Bobby Portis. And right now, I'm probably going to put him in 150 of 150 lineups today because of my gut feeling and what I kind of think of as psychology. You have to go back and look at when Mirotic and Bobby Portis were both in the Chicago Bulls. Bobby Portis got suspended for knocking Mirotic out. Who was on that team? Right? There's a lot of guys who are still left over here. Robin Lopez, Markkanen, Chris Dunn. These guys were all on this team when Bobby Portis came through and just knocked out Mirotic and made him. And he didn't just knock him out, bro. If I'm not mistaken, Mirotic had to miss like a month of the season because he got his face smashed in. Am I correct?
Yeah. No, you're right.
So the reason I'm bringing that up is Bobby – I don't know how many dudes on this team are a little bit scared, borderline scared of Bobby Portis, right? The dude – just knocked somebody out, and I mean, he hurt him bad. So 5.6 feels like a bargain for me for a guy who's starting as their center. and a guy who's bullied this Bulls team when he was on this Bulls team. So 5.6 for Bobby Portis. He's going to play 25 minutes at least. There's a little bit of a narrative here, of course, and I don't like to always play the narrative spot, but in this case, I am definitely playing the narrative because I think there's some psychology built into that. Beyond that, you mentioned yesterday Jeff Green, and you have to keep playing this guy, especially in tournaments. He give, even in cash, the guy gives you a very safe floor. He's going to play almost 30 minutes at a 4.4 price tag. He continues to produce. The other guy, Trevor Ariza, 5.7. The guy's been as high as almost 7,000, playing a lot of minutes, been very consistent. He's got something to prove. I think here with Washington, he said he'd like to stay there. The only guy I'm really not behind here is Bradley Beal at 10.3. Unfortunately, he's like Elfrid Payton. We're not comfortable paying up for guys not accustomed to being in this price range, but they've paid off. They've paid off on the price tag, and Bradley Beal could definitely pay off for you at this price tag again tonight. It's a tournament play for me.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, on the Bulls side of things, obviously there's some guys that are in play. I'm going to start with the guys I don't necessarily care about so much. I mean, Robin Lopez and Markkanen. Well, Markkanen 7.4. His price tag has come down a little bit, but I don't know. He hasn't. When he first came back from injury, he was like on fire. I don't know if he's starting to kind of get wore down a little bit, but Robin Lopez and Markkanen are in play, but they're GPP plays. This is a really, really up-tempo game against Washington, so you obviously definitely want to target this game.
He had a good game against Phoenix, though. The last game they played, I think he played 30 minutes and had 33 fantasy points. So that was, I mean, not a monster game, but a point per minute is kind of trending in the right direction.
But 7.4, I said we need 36 just for value. You know what I mean?
Right.
But like GPP wise, I mean, he's definitely in play. And you got to wait on Levine. What's going on with Levine? Is he game time questionable? Okay, so Levine is a big piece of news that we got to wait for, along with Otto Porter. Otto Porter is a big piece that we got to wait for as well.
I could see Levine missing this game because the trend in the NBA, guys are starting to not play with a bruised thigh or a bruised calf or something like that. It's a leg injury. So I could see him not playing because he has a bruised thigh. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that.
Yeah, for sure. So if the Levine is rolled out, there's two guys that I really like. Chris Dunn, 5.7. His price tag hasn't moved. And Ryan Arcidiacono, right?
Oh, you got it.
Hey, so
Arcidiacono.
Arcidiacono. So yeah, so like I said, I mean, really with the Bulls, for me, I'm just gonna keep it simple. Right now, it's the wait and see approach. If Levine is out, then you look at Dunn, you look at Arcidiacono. They're two really elite plays if Levine is out. So I'm really just going to keep it at that. Otto Porter is looking like he's doubtful. He's probably not going to play today. Shaquille Harrison, he may draw a start at 3,800. There's a possible drop spot play for you as well. But yeah, man, that's really where I'm at with the Bulls. I got to really just see what happens with Levine first.
Keep it moving.
Next game we're going to go with is going to be the Miami Heat going into San Antonio to face the Spurs. This game has a 210.5 over-under, and San Antonio is favored by 6 in this one.
So I'm just going to keep it simple, man. Here it is again. There's a logjam of players here. You've got diminished minutes with Hassan Whiteside and minutes trending up for Bam. Look, do you want to play Bam? You want to play Olynyk? You want to play Derrick Jones Jr. at 3.7? You want to play Richardson? You want to play Dion Waiters? I'm fine with all of these guys right now in cash games. Goran Dragic at 5.5, obviously a price majorly increased coming off that monster game he had out of nowhere. We did mention him, though, on that video and said if Winslow was out to roll Dragic. I can get right back behind Dragic again. I know he's coming off the bench, and I know they've said he's going to continue to come off the bench, and that's the news. But that to me makes him a really good tournament play. You see he played 29 minutes, had 52.5 fantasy points. I don't expect Dragic to go out and do this every single night off the bench, but I definitely think he can get you a 5 to 6x value coming off the bench with Winslow out. Obviously, that opens up a little bit more of a role for him coming off the bench with no Winslow. But it's a tournament-only play. So, Derrick Jones Jr. is probably the only guy you could look at for cash consideration here, in my opinion, because of the price tags of Olynyk, Bam, with Whiteside still on the bench and playing. It takes a little bit away from those guys as well. James Johnson's still there in the mix in some capacity as well. So, to me, tournament plays only and kind of move on with your day.
Yeah, I mean, on the Spurs side of things, I mean, we talk about the same guys we always talk about. It's about you start with their best two players in Aldridge and DeMar DeRozan. I mean, you obviously got to start with them whenever you start with the Spurs. I think they're in play. You know, he is a pretty good defensive team, though. That's one thing I do want to mention. So it's not the best matchup for anybody on the Spurs. They're a nitty gritty team. They throw a bunch of bodies at you. That's just what the Heat does. So you start with Aldridge, you start with DeRozan. Rudy Gay, if he's gonna get 25 to 30 minutes at a 5,800 price tag, you got to look at him. He'll definitely be in play. Outside of those three guys, everybody else is strictly just hey, you can pick them and good luck, see what you get. White has had a pretty good season, but he's inconsistent. You need 30 for him to hit value. I think he's a good GPP play because he does have 40 fantasy point upside. But I'm not taking the kind of guess and see who's going to get the minutes between Forbes, Mills, and Bellinelli. So I'm really just going to stick with the main guys. Podol, not going to really look at him. He have a bunch of big guys. It's just Aldridge, DeRozan, and Rudy Gay for me, really.
And I will say this: the Spurs are terrible against point guards. So Dragic at 5.5, really good tournament play in my opinion.
For sure. Moving on, next game we're going to go with is the Toronto Raptors going into OKC to face the Thunder. This game has a 227 over/under, and OKC's favored by 4.5 in this one.
Yeah, so I mean, here's another one. I hope you guys played Van Vliet the other day. We gave you the whole scenario, and Van Vliet had an absolutely great game.
I'm going to be honest. I'm man enough to admit I fucked up on that one, man. I messed up on that one. We'll leave it at that. Move on.
Right. So what we had said was, just to recap, that he had played the Sunday game. He came back and he played 30 minutes and had like 19 fantasy points, and that if Lowry was going to be out, that he would be an auto play. Right. So I hope you guys played him. Look, Siakam's price tag is a little bit steep in this spot. However, I will say this: there's usage to go around without Lowry on the floor. Van Vliet will obviously eat some of that up, and so will Kawhi Leonard. But we've seen Siakam in the spot do extremely well, and I do like. To me, the interesting thing here is that the matchup for him is a mismatch with Jeremy Grant. I think that he's a much bigger player, he's a much stronger player, and I think he's a much more athletic player than Jeremy Grant is. And at 8.2, that's the only scary thing about it is you need 48, 49, 50 fantasy points to pay you off in tournaments, and you got to get it. The 40 doesn't scare me too much, to be honest with you, but we've seen him smash in this spot without Kyle Lowry or without Kawhi Leonard or without both. So it's a guy I like a ton. Marc Gasol, he should start tonight because they are playing against a team that has a real center, a legit center with Steven Adams. So that, Gasol at 6.8, in comparison, you start looking across the board at mid-tier options. And I think you're absolutely right. I'd rather go with Noah coming off the bench than Gasol starting here with Ibaka back. So, Kawhi Leonard at 9.6. Now we're talking about who you're paying up for again. And this seems to me like the best bargain on the slate at 9.6. For a Kyle Lowry-less team in a pretty good game. The only thing that scares me is that Kawhi Leonard, we know, is a great defender, but so is Paul George. Paul George having a really good year as a defender.
Yeah, no, for sure. On the OKC side of things, Westbrook's back. Man, I like Westbrook right here. I think this Westbrook is going to be that. I got suspended for a game. This was some fucking bullshit. I'm going to come back today. I'm going to absolutely torch. I just have that feeling about Westbrook.
I wouldn't say that he knows that it's a bullshit narrative because it was a technical foul issue they got. I mean, they all know you get 12, you're going to get suspended. So I would agree with you though that from a matchup standpoint, he's going to come in here and thrash these guys.
Right, for sure. So I like Westbrook. I like George. Grant, 5.6 is in play. Even Steven Adams, 6.4, he's in play. It's a tough matchup for Steven Adams. So I'm thinking to myself, well, would I rather pay $400 more and go with Gasol? But my answer to myself is no, because Steven Adams is a guy. He's going to play 30-plus minutes in this matchup. You mentioned it. Ibaka's back. It's going to eat into some of Gasol's minutes. I honestly think all five of the starters outside of Ferguson, so I'll say 4, are in play. And then off the bench, you can look at Schroeder. He always has upside. Markieff Morris has been getting occasional run. And Nerlens Noel ends up getting ruled out. You can maybe see Markieff Morris get a couple extra minutes at the big guard spot. So that's something that we can look at too. But that's really where I'm at with the Thunder.
Yeah.
So moving on, final game of the night is going to be Dallas going into Portland to face the Trailblazers. This game has a 216.5 over under, and Portland's favored by 10 in this one.
The thing that irritates me about this game is that it's the late game. I wish that there was a different late game tonight. You know, I'm a big believer that to take a tournament down, you've got to have somebody from this late spot. There's only a 30-minute difference in starting time, so you possibly, could hold on here. If you get enough out of that Toronto-Oklahoma City game, you could treat it as the last game on the slate. But there's going to be points in this game, and, depending on who it is, that's the problem, trying to find out who you're going to play in this spot. To me, I'm going to continue to play Dirk Nowitzki at minimum price because, like I say, there's only about 14 games left in the season. This is the tail end of his farewell tour. He will get an ovation tonight in Portland, and I can see him playing maybe 20 minutes tonight in this spot. I'll take Dirk in 20 minutes at 3.6 as my drop spot tonight. I just will. And I'll probably do that in quite a bit of tournament lineups. That outside of that, look, Doncic at 9.9, really expensive for a game of this caliber where there's going to be blowout potential on it. I'm just not interested in the Dallas side of things outside of Dirk.
I get you for sure. So we know McCollum's out. I'm going to be honest with you. I haven't really looked. Who was the one that really benefited most?
Who did I say? Who did I say?
I'm going to be honest with you. I missed it. You cut out on me.
So Rodney Hood played 24 minutes and I believe 24 fantasy points, and that's who I had said. I think you were on Seth Curry, and I said it was going to be Rodney Hood, and I believe that they would look. They went and got Rodney Hood for a reason, and I think that again with McCollum out, Rodney Hood's the guy who's going to benefit. I think he comes in a little bit earlier rotationally than he would if McCollum was playing. I think that's where he gets the extra minutes from. And the guy's a knockdown shooter, man. That's what he's made his money doing in this league is scoring the basketball, and I think that he can absolutely get you value again today.
Yeah, for sure. So, we can go back to that well. We'll start there. If we know McCollum's out, if we feel he's going to continue to benefit, we can go right back to that well. Outside of that, you can look at, Nurkic. We like big guys going against Mavericks. So Nurkic is definitely in play, 8.7. You can look at a Damian Lillard. Jake Layman, 3,500 bare minimum. He's getting some run. You can look at him as well. Kanter coming off the bench at a 4.6 price tag. He's a really good play as well. If we feel this game possibly could turn into a blowout and he's going to get some extra minutes. That's really where I'm at with the Wizards. It's Nurkic, it's Lillard. You could possibly look at Harkless maybe in GPP, Kanter in GPP, Rodney Hood, and maybe Turner. Are we going to throw Turner in the player pool?
I would tell you this, man. Without McCollum there in the last game, I would look to get value, and I would look to use Seth Curry and Rodney Hood in tournaments. I think those guys benefit. 25 minutes for Seth Curry is what he played the other night, and I believe 17 fantasy points, and I think Hood had 24 minutes and like 24 fantasy points. So those are the two guys. To me, there's value. Get that value exposed. And use that as your hammer at late night.
Yeah, for sure. So, hey, man, that's all we got for you guys. 9 games kind of wrapped up, got it done for you in and out. Thank you very much for checking out this video. If you guys haven't already, and make sure to go check out our free app, our free chat that we just launched. It's already filling up quickly. We're answering all questions throughout the day. We're talking, daily fantasy sports all day long. It's a lot of fun. Make sure to check it out. And make sure to check out the site, man, dfscheatsheet.com. Outside of that, good luck on your guys' contest tonight, and peace out.